Community Connection on KGNB, brought to you by Waters International Realty.
This is Paige Green with your Community Connection. We're here with Bubba. He is a volunteer with Bikers Against Child Abuse. Bubba, how are you?
I'm doing great, Paige. Thank you so much for having us on.
Of course. Well, first, can you tell me what Bikers Against Child Abuse is?
So Bikers Against Child Abuse is a volunteer organization that comes in and helps empower children to not be afraid of the world in which they live in. We come into places where there are abused children and help them stand on their own 2 feet and kind of face the world again.
Which area do you serve?
So I am with the San Antonio chapter, but we serve so much broader of an area than that. So we serve New Braunfels, Seguin, Gonzales, Floresville. I mean, we're all over the place. And you know what? We're not just in this area. In the state of Texas, we have 26 chapters. We are in a total of 46 states in the United States, and we are in 18 different countries. So we are an international organization.
Wow, in 26 chapters alone in Texas. I know there are different levels to intervention that Bikers Against Child Abuse takes. Can you explain those levels?
Yeah, so we have the level 1. That's basically the adoption. What we do is we go out and we bring a kid into our family. We give them a vest to where they look like us, they feel like us. We give them a blanket with their name on it that they can cuddle up with whenever they need a little bit of additional support during the night. They get a stuffed animal that is full of what we call Baka love. And that's the level 1. That's like the most important part of the child. That's where they start to really feel like they're part of something larger. The other bit of intervention that we do is called a level 2. A level 2 is whenever a child feels like there might be a threat to the child themselves. And they'll give us a call, and what we'll do is we'll send out 4 to 8 patch members, and they will set up security around the child's house until they feel safe again.
And what is the process like of people reaching out to Bikers Against Child Abuse?
So that's actually a great question. We work in conjunction with a lot of local and state officials that are already in place to help children. We take referrals from parents, from guardians, from CPS, from CASA. If there is a representative for that child that reaches out to us through our hotline, we will look at the case. We will see if it meets all of our criteria, and if it does, then we will bring that child in.
And why is something like this important for the community?
It's important to the community because as hard as law enforcement and CASA and things like those organizations try, they just don't have the manpower to provide 24-hour support for a single child. They've got a lot of things out there that they have to do, and the way that we work is each child gets what's called a primary. They get 2 of them, and they have that primary cell phone numbers. They can call us at 2 o'clock in the morning if they're feeling afraid. And what it does is it kind of frees up some of the resources that could be used in other places.
And we talked about intervention earlier. I also know that you make court appearances on behalf or with these children. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. So whenever the child goes to court, we will escort them. We will, kind of provide a perimeter, because a lot of times whenever these kids go to court, it's not so much the perp that tries to intimidate the child. It's the perp's family. So what we do is we provide a shield around this child to keep anybody that the child does not want to have access to them, we keep that from happening. And we'll sit in court with them because, honestly, we're scarier than a lot of the people that are sitting at the defendant's table.
And you mentioned that you're a lot scary, or you can be a lot scarier than the people sitting there. How important is that level of protection for these kids?
So if anybody ever gets the chance to volunteer with us and you get to go on one of these L1s, you get to watch these children come out of a shell. A lot of times they'll be scared, stay right next to mom or dad, and won't really interact with anybody. But the more that they feel like, hey, these guys are here for me and they've got my back, the quicker that they will come out of that shell and they'll be interacting and hugging and getting on bikes. And it's just really an amazing, amazing transformation to watch these children go through that. And a lot of times before court, there's a lot of anxiety and a lot of other emotional aspects that can really put it to where these children aren't as open as they should be whenever they get there. So having built those bonds with us and being able to look out in that courtroom and see us, it allows those children to just really just tell their truth and not worry about anything.
If someone is interested in this process and making these bonds, how are they able to get involved?
So there's a couple of different ways. The easiest way would be to go to bacaworld.org. That's BACA, Bikers Against Child Abuse, world.org. And there is a chapter locator on that screen. Just find the chapter that's closest to you. If you're in the New Braunfels area, the closest chapter to you is going to be the San Antonio chapter. You can reach out to us there, and we will tell you when and where to come, and we can start the process. It's not an easy process. You've got hours and hours and hours of training before you ever get a back patch, which is what you have to have in order to be a primary. Every member has to go through a federal and local background check, and they have to do at least a year's worth of training before they're eligible to be a primary.
Again, that website was BACA, BACA world.org. Does BACA have any upcoming events?
We actually do. We have an event here in New Braunfels tomorrow. This will be our first annual BACA Bash, and what this is going to be, it's going to be a bike show. We've got live music all day. We've got the Lavens, Chad Boyd, Dallas Burrow with Katie Shore. We're going to be having a silent auction. There's food and beverages are going to be there. Ultimately, it's just going to be a fun day full of bikes and raising awareness and supporting a good cause.
That was the first annual BACA Bash tomorrow. You said is going to be a bike show, live music, silent auction. Sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. So where and when is this?
It is tomorrow. Registration for the bike show starts at noon and ends at 2 p.m. Live music starts at noon. Silent auction starts at noon. Everything basically kicks off at noon, and it's going to be at 600 P Street at the VFW 7110.
600 P Street is where that will be taking place. Is everyone able to attend?
Yeah, this is open to the public as long as you're 21 and up. This is a biker event. So.
All right, and lastly, what are some of the ways that, besides being a primary, as you mentioned, is there any other ways people can help to donate or volunteer their time in other ways? Absolutely. So the most immediate way would be to come out to the event tomorrow. That'd be the most immediate way to help support us. More broadly, referrals. If you know somebody that's in law enforcement or that works with an organization that deals with abused children, let them know about us. You know, we rely on those referrals in order to be able to help these children. You know, overall, if you go to that bacaworld.org and find your nearest chapter, there is a donate button right there that you can click, and it'll take you to a PayPal link, and you can donate to that chapter. And since this is a 100% volunteer-based organization, all the proceeds that go to the chapter are used for the children. That was Bubba, a volunteer with Bikers Against Child Abuse. Bubba, do you have anything you would like to add?
Not at this time. I mean, we really appreciate the town of New Braunfels. You guys have stepped up amazingly. A lot of the silent auction donations were donated locally. We have a signed Ray Wiley Hubbard guitar that he put in. Star Awards went ahead and donated trophies for our bike show. I mean, everybody that I have talked to has been just so supportive and so amazing to help pull this event off and make it successful.
Thank you again to Bubba. He is a volunteer with Bikers Against Child Abuse for speaking with us today.